just going through some of these options. This new ADX, I don't I don't know. It's kind of expensive, but there is some nice stuff here. I guess if your expectations aren't too high, this might be the perfect vehicle for you. There's just some things you might want to think about first. And the big thing that comes to my mind is the HRV. I mean, you gotta consider this thing if you're considering an ADX, because it's basically the same car, isn't it? And there's a lot of nice stuff, and for almost $20,000 less, you'd be crazy not to at least consider it. Especially, this is really the big comparison here is between the base ADX, 35 grand, and it's almost identical as far as the equipment and the options as the $29,000 500 EXL HRV. So in fact, it's virtually the same as far as what you get. And let's just kind of go through it real quick and just to show you. So yeah, 35 grand. Okay, now you do get nicer wheels than the HRV, 18-inch. This is almost crazy to me. Is that on the HRV, the top trim is this EXL. Guess what? It actually has the same wheels as the base model. They're just painted a different color. It's crazy. So yeah, in many ways, the sport model looks the best in the HRV when we're talking about the exterior. Obviously, the EXL here has all the equipment on the inside, and again, all that equipment is basically the same as this base ADX. So yeah, let's go through it here. Yeah. So anyways, that's what I forgot to say. The heated front seats and the regular moonroof, that HRV EXL has it. The big difference is, yeah, you actually get nice wheels on this ADX base model. So that, it is going to look a lot nicer. It's going to look more expensive for sure. But is it, we're talking $5,500, aren't we? I don't know. Is it worth it? Now, all the LED lights, yeah, the HRV has all that. The dual zone, yep, HRV's got that. Again, we're talking about the EXL HRV. Leather wheel, yes. Now, here's a couple of differences. Again, for $5,500, I don't know, is it worth it? The ambient LED lighting. So yes, you do get that on the base ADX. And that really can make the interior, especially if you do a lot of night driving, just feel a lot more upscale and premium, right? And plus you can customize it. So that is nice. And I'm actually surprised they put that on the base ADX. And then the power tailgates. Yes, you can't get that on the HRV. So, but this is a small crossover, isn't it? I mean, the tailgate's pretty small and light. On some vehicles, it does make a lot of sense. On this car, I don't know. Even if you're short, you can reach it to close it easily. So, but still, I guess a lot of people like that. So, hey, I guess we're finding a few differences here. The heated front seat, yeah, they mentioned that again. 8-way power driver's seat. Yeah, the HRV EXL has that as well. And they never mention if the ADX models have a power passenger seat for some reason. I gotta imagine they do, right? I mean, they got to. And then this is actually a downgrade, leatherette on your luxury Acura. Yeah, so the EXL has leather. The EXL Honda HRV has leather. That's what the L stands for, by the way, if you didn't know about Honda models. So yeah, actually, you get nicer material on the seats in the Honda. Now, to mention the seats, that is kind of a big con on the Honda HRV, is the seats in that thing are like rock hard. They're not very comfortable. So for sure, the Acura is going to have better seats. And that can be a deal breaker, right? I mean, that can be, yeah, you kind of want comfortable seats. That's like the worst thing about the Honda HRV, really. So, but let's keep going. And the 9-inch screen. The 9-inch screen, yeah, that HRV EXL model has that as well. And now you might be saying too, well, this ADX has the 1.5-liter turbo engine, doesn't it? Which makes more power. That's true, but it's got the same CVT. So as far as how it drives, is it going to drive that much different? it's going to have more oomph, you know, especially in the mid-range. You know, actually the K20 naturally aspirated engine in the HR-V is a fantastic engine. It's not, you know, tuned for performance that much in that car, so, you know, it is kind of slow. But it does have the VTEC, you know, and what, you know, if you floor it and that VTEC kicks in, it's pretty quick. And that's why if you've seen on the internet, a lot of these 0 to 60 times of the ADX versus the HR-V, it's pretty similar. But you will notice in kind of normal driving around town, that kind of mid-range grunt, you know, the ADX is going to accelerate more effortlessly for sure. And that is a big appeal when you have a CVT, because CVTs actually work quite good, don't they? When you're just kind of driving normally. It's really when you floor them, right, where you get a lot of that drone and it kind of hangs onto the revs a little too much. So, you know, but again, I would say the Honda's probably got the more reliable engine. So it's kind of pros and cons. Now, another con here, though, actually for the ADX, you don't even get any actual colors to choose from. Look at this. What do you get? Four colors. I mean, there's 4 options. None of them are colors, right? You get white, black, silver, and urban gray. To be fair, one of these grays is urban gray, which is a fantastic color. You know, it's like a medium gray, but it's got gold metallic flakes in it. Looks fantastic. So at least they are giving you that option. And then there's not even an interior option. So that's where actually the HR-V again has an advantage. And if I just go to it here real quick, not only do you get more exterior colors, but guess what? Yeah, look at, you can choose this nice green. What happened? You can choose that nice green. Actually, that's a really cool green. And then, yeah, I don't know. You got red too, you know, if you want red. But the nice part about this is actually the HR-V has 2 interior options as well. So not just black, but gray. So, you know, more color options. Again, the base ADX is quite limited here. So if we actually go to this, it's quite nice too. Like you'd be surprised if you've always considered luxury vehicles. This Honda, look at this. It's got like matching leather. The great part here is actually, I mean, I don't know if it's leather on the dash, but leather red at least there, and on the consoles wear as well. So there's a lot of like nice padded soft material in this interior. And then the last thing you might say, well, the gauge cluster, right? The regular base ADX has the full digital display, but this one that's in the Honda, it's like half. The left side of it's digital. It's just the right side has an analog speedometer, but you can do a lot and display a lot on the left side. And honestly, I kind of just prefer the vent design that these Hondas have. You know, going all the way across the dash. It's kind of a little bit more of a unique, premium look, distinctive look, isn't it? And it's funny that the Acura models, they always just do the traditional, cut it off right there, right? It's kind of weird. You think it would be the opposite. And then another nice detail is actually the door handles in this HR-V, they're the same as the ADX, and they're metal. They're actually metal handles. They're not plastic. So yeah, you'd probably be surprised at how nice this is. All right, so I'm not going to mention the HR-V anymore, so don't worry about that. Let's jump to the trims that you're probably most interested in here, right? It's the A-Spec models. And in fact, the regular A-Spec, I think this is the obvious choice. Because, yeah, for only $3,000 more than the base, you basically get almost everything the ADX has to offer. In fact, I was kind of surprised by this. So, yeah, let's kind of go through it. You know, yeah, the first thing that's most noticeable here is you get the full color palette. You know, finally, so that's nice. And not only that, but they unlock all 3 interior color options, right? The black, the red, and the orchid, which actually has the blue accents as well. And then it keeps going. It keeps going. Guess what? They're even giving you the ventilated front seats. I thought you had to go for the advanced trim to get that. No, just the regular A-Spec. And as I mentioned, you do get the full panoramic roof now instead of the little tiny moonroof. You also get larger wheels, 19-inch. So I think the 18-inch is, you know, it's a good size. But the 19-inch, yeah, those are going to look really good. And then if we keep going, there's actually there's a lot more. So how about fog lights? Yep, you get that on the regular A-Spec. On the interior here, so all A-Spec models get this flat bottom sport steering wheel. Of course, it's leather wrapped. And then, yeah, so the seats here with these 3 different color options, it's a combination of leatherette and micro suede inserts. In fact, let's kind of jump to it real quick. We'll come back to the option list here. Let's just go in and build it real quick because I got to show you there is a big difference between the seats here in the A-Spec and the A-Spec Advance. But yeah, here's this red interior looks fantastic, by the way. So there's a couple of different materials here on the regular. This is the regular A-Spec. So when they talk about the micro suede inserts, yeah, so there's 2 different parts. So on this red interior, the black on kind of the inside of the bolsters here, this is one part that's micro suede. And it's the same with the top part of the seat too. So that's one part that's micro suede. But then the center of the seat is also micro suede. Here, and then all the way up here. This red center part is all micro suede as well. So that's where if you get the ADX Advance, that whole center part will be perforated leather. So that's the big difference. The black here, the bolster trim, is still going to be micro suede on the ADX Advance. But it's interesting that you basically get the same looking seat. So that, extra $4,000 that you spend on the Advance model, interior basically looks the same. Yeah, and again, this red interior just looks fantastic, doesn't it? Especially with an A-Spec, the sport appearance package. So, yeah, you might want to go for that. But as I said, let's kind of go through that list real quick. Oof, there's not a lot of choices here, is there? You get it with the black interior if you want, and the white and the urban gray. Actually, I'm glad to see that they're giving you the full option on the urban gray. I was kind of surprised to see that. So yeah, 3 colors if you want that red interior. Now, obviously, if you want black, you can get it on any color. Now, the orchid is even more restricted. That orchid in blue, it's just the white and just the urban gray. And that one is really surprising that they combined it with the urban gray, but they didn't. It's not available with the blue. Isn't that bizarre? Like that would have looked fantastic with the blue. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. That should have had the orchid too, right? For sure. So I don't know. That's a big bummer if you wanted to go for the blue. And I think the blue would have looked great too. It's not the Apex blue, but it looks, I don't know, it looks pretty similar to me, doesn't it? It has that real bright shine to it, at least in this image. But as I said, this urban gray pearl is a fantastic color. Take a look at it. Make sure you go on a sunny day. Because on a cloudy day, it just looks like a medium gray, like a flat medium gray. But when the sun hits it, yeah, it's got that gold metallic in it. It's just awesome. And then just to finish off this list for the regular A-Spec model here, of course, it still gets the 9-inch screen, wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. And something you might be disappointed with is it still gets the regular speakers. So, where is it? It's on here somewhere. But anyways, it's just it's right there. It's just the regular 8-speaker setup. So, that's where, if you really like your music, that's where you're really going to want to consider the A-Spec Advance model, right? Because, yeah, Acura puts fantastic stereos in their high-end trims, don't they? So let's see what else you get, though. You get Google built in. So that's interesting because I could have sworn they had, like, Google built in on that 9-inch screen on other models. Like, standard. I don't know. Maybe I'm not remembering that correctly, but evidently, to get it on this ADX, you got to go for the top trim. So it's the same 9-inch screen. But I guess they're locking out the Google built-in feature for only the advanced model here. It's kind of weird. But yeah, there's that Bang & Olufsen 15 speakers It's not a huge number of speakers. You know, a lot of the Acura models, they have like, what, 20, 25, almost 30 speakers. But this is a small car, isn't it? So it probably still sounds fantastic. It's for sure going to be better than just the base 8-speaker setup, right? Heated steering wheel, so that's new. That's new as well. It's got the power liftgate as well, but of course, you know, but it gets the hands-free feature, right? So where you can kind of trip that sensor with your foot or something. So that does, yeah, if you're going to have a power tailgate, it should have that feature, right? I mean, otherwise, it's kind of silly if you still have to press the button, right? Now, here's a difference. The front passenger, or the front driver's seat is a 12-way now instead of 8-way. And they also mentioned that perhaps one of those 4 additional ways is for lumbar. So, yeah, I got to imagine that could make a big difference in, you know, your comfort, especially if you plan on taking these things on long trips or you're just in your car a lot. But here's the big thing. I can't believe Honda did this. This is so low of them. So in order to get the remote start, the little remote start button on the key fob, you got to go for this ADX advanced model. This is crazy. I mean, almost all Honda models have the remote start built into the key fob. Like you can get like a $25,000 Honda. It has it. Yet they removed it. They took it away from those other 2 trims here on the ADX. So, hey, yeah, if you want remote start, you got to pay at least 42 grand. So that's, to me, that's the kind of stuff that just turns customers off, right? I mean, that's just, they shouldn't have done that. But, and then all the safety, Honda, Acura, these things come fully loaded with all the safety tech. So that's why I haven't really mentioned it much. It's all there, even on the HRV. The big difference is here, multi-view camera. So that 360 camera with the top down, you see the front, the side, you know. All the other trims of the ADX, they only have that rear camera, right? So that's, for people, you know, who find that useful, that might be a big difference as well. So I guess for the extra $4 grand, there is a lot of changes here. I just feel like, you know, the stuff that you really kind of want is all on the regular A-Spec, isn't it? So, and that at that price, it just, because I think this is just too high for a car that just has that 1.5 liter turbo and a CVT. If they put the hybrid in the advanced model, you know, that hybrid system from like the Civic hybrid, if they had done that, then I'd say, pay the extra money. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. And just to clarify here, you know, these color options, these color combinations, it's the same for the A-Spec and the A-Spec Advance. So there's, you know, you don't get to unlock, you know, more combinations with the Advance either. This is what it is. You know, again, there's no orchid with the blue. That's a big mistake, I think, you know. So now let's jump over to the accessories here, because there is some cool stuff. You know, if you want to customize your ADX, you know, there is some cool stuff here. And as I mentioned, there's, these $2,000 optional wheels. So, I don't know. You know, there's still 19 inches, but if you want, you know, you don't want to have the same wheels everybody else has. And as I said too, the ADX and the A-Spec and the A-Spec Advance, they have different wheels as well. So that'll be nice that, you know, you're not going to see the same car driving around all over the place with all these different wheel options. And then, this is what I was talking about before. The regular A-Spec has body color mirrors, which I almost think look better, because you got a lot of other black trim on this car, right? Like sometimes on like sedans and stuff, it can be nice to have black mirrors because it adds a little bit of contrast, but you got so much black trim on this thing already. You know, I don't think you need more. It almost looks more premium to have it color matched. And then if you want to, like, you know, this is kind of popular now, right? You can black out the emblems. Yeah, you can do the front, the back, and they're not that expensive, you know, $80 for the front. Let's see how that looks. Hey, let's see how that looks. Yeah, it kind of looks cool, doesn't it? So now the one thing I would say, don't don't do this. Don't do the illuminated Acura badge. This is the tackiest trend. I don't know who started this, like Mercedes or somebody started this, right? It's horrible. It looks so cheap and tacky. It just destroys the real, upscale, elegant look of a luxury car, doesn't it? Like, you would think this is something that somebody kind of like made themselves at home with like some little LED strips from Pep Boys or something, right? So yeah, don't be this guy, especially $400. Come on. This, mid spoiler. Actually, I would highly recommend getting this actually on one of the A-Spec models, because I think not only does it just go with like, the rooftop spoiler is a little bit got this eccentric design, and you got, the finisher off the back, the dual exhausts, and the 19-inch wheels. I think it all kind of works, and this will give it a real distinctive look. Separate it more from the HR-V, because it does kind of still look similar, especially from the rear to the HR-V. So yeah, this is actually kind of a cool thing. As you see, it's right below the rear glass. And yeah, well, okay, we can't see it too well on the blue, but it does look, I think it looks great. So let me know what you guys think about that. Especially, yeah, $350. It's less than that. It's less than that light up badge.